Welcome back. You're watching Bottom Line. Well, the numbers are rising rapidly. Assam touched the 256 mark just a short while back. Number of active cases also inching towards the 200 mark, 195 to be precise. This crisis has taken a toll on everything. In fact, even on the sports industry, if I can call it the sports industry, sports persons, athletes, there have been no trainings for months. And even the sports industry is in search of a way out of this entire crisis. How to go about it? Yes, the MHA has said practice training can resume, but there cannot be any crowd, any spectators in the stadiums for obvious reasons. But if we talk about local sports, local clubs, what's the use of having matches if there is no crowd, because there will be no funds. I will be joined by co-founder of Guwahati City FC, Siddharth Shankar Deka. Before that, Sangeeta Datta, again, yes, this has taken a toll on almost everything, the coronavirus crisis.
Yes, it has. It has not only affected the sports area, it has affected cinema, theatre, business, everything actually. And our lifestyles have changed. We call this the new normal, but nevertheless, it has been very difficult on our parts to cope with what has been happening. Having said that, since by now we have realized, the World Health Organization has also said this time and again that the virus is not going to go in the next few months or perhaps more than a year. It's going to stay with us for quite some time. So we have to now devise techniques, we have to know lifestyles and develop lifestyles to be able to cope with the virus and live with the virus. When we live with the virus, we have to take all those precautions so that we don't transmit the virus from one person to the next, which means we have to follow guidelines. Now, when it comes to following guidelines and norms, I would like to mention here something. The guidelines are very simple. It's about wearing a mask, it's about washing hands repeatedly, it's about maintaining social distance. Then why do people fail? Why are people failing so frequently? It is because sometimes when things are too simple, people also are careless. Sometimes things are more complex, people would pay more attention. Here things are very simple. So somewhere, even I have seen people who wear a mask, but the mask is hanging from their necks. Or maybe they wear a mask with their mouth covered, but their nose exposed. So this will not be effective. Sometimes people wash their hands for the sake of washing, but it's not for a minimum period of 20 seconds. So that way things are not going to be effective. We have to follow guidelines and norms as described or as we have to follow them. So that is one thing. Second thing is that though the guidelines and the norms are very simple, yet if we break those norms, if we don't follow them, the repercussions or the consequences are very complex, because as you rightly said, one person not following norms properly could infect 100 others, which means that there could be a spike in cases and suddenly we may, the entire infrastructure or whatever capacity we have built till now, it could become overwhelmed and we will not have sufficient space or resources to accommodate those COVID positive cases. So again, repeating the same thing, prevention is always better than cure. We have made mistakes, but it's high time we don't make another mistake. Only then we will succeed in this battle against COVID-19.
I think we have Siddharth Deka of Guwahati City FC connected with us. Siddharth, welcome to Bottom Line. Difficult times these for sports persons, club owners and athletes. Can we recover and find ways to keep the show going, Siddharth?
Yes, this is a very difficult time, for sports lovers, sports organizers, every stakeholder. So we are aware of the fact that living without football, especially for football lovers like us, is very tough. But we have to accept the situation. It's not in our hands. It's a disease, so we have to stick to the rules and regulations set by the government or the scientists, and we have to go forward. But in coming months, I think we are going to see a change in methodology in sports organization as well as sports viewing, and we need to adapt to the new system, and we need to work together to revive sports, revive football. Yes, for 1 or 2 years, I think there will be no possibility of spectators in the stadium. That will be a very uh, difficult situation for sports organizers and stakeholders, because spectators mean business, mean sponsorships, mean gate sales. So if they're not coming, I mean, the spectators are not coming means, we have to suffer. But still, I think models like television revenue, online streaming, we have to think about that. I know that Indian football doesn't have such huge popularity like in Europe, that we can easily depend upon the TV revenue or online streaming. But still, we have to work somehow. We have to sit together, all the stakeholders, and I think All India Football Federation, as well as all the stakeholders, has to have to sit together and think about it.
All right, we also have with us Mr. Thangboy Singto. Thangboy Singto, of course, is currently the assistant coach of Odisha FC, ISL club Odisha FC, and a known face in the Northeast. A long association with Shillong Lajong FC, has been associated with youth development programs in the region. A very warm welcome, Mr. Singto, to Bottom Line. How have things been in the past couple of months?
Uh, Thank you, Naba. It's great. It's great to be here. Well, at the moment, things are not great all over the world. The same with India. Well, yesterday, a few days back, I mean, the cyclone Amphan has really created havoc in the West Bengal and Odisha, where I come from at the moment. But again, I think we human race is very, very strong mentally, and I think with the support of the government and with the support of the people all around, I think, well, we have been fighting against this pandemic, but another challenge is ahead of us. But I think as a human race, we are the best species in the world, in this world. But I think we need to stand together, stick together, and I mean, that's the way forward. I believe we can come out stronger from this, I believe.
These Thangboy Singto, these are also difficult times for the sports industry, be it football, cricket, any sports. Very difficult for athletes, club owners, sponsors, everybody. What could be the way forward? You yourself have been involved with I-League clubs, now ISL. You have been into youth development. All that has taken a backseat, of course, in the last 2.5 months. And it seems like there is no hope, there is no light at the end of the tunnel at this moment. How to keep yourself, the players, the youngsters, everybody motivated during these times?
Well, I think, at the moment, I think sport is not the most important, as everyone would say. But then saving lives, and, I mean, trying to be able to help people who are in the distress, who are in problem, is the most important at the moment. But coming back to sports, I think, the good thing is that this type of situation has been, I think, we have not faced of this type of situation. But again, like I said before, Naba, I think, all the people all over the world involved in the sports business, whether they are the owners, whether they are the TV promoters, whether they are the coaches, the players, and the youngsters, I think, sports is such an avenue that where we are not, playing sports physically, but we are, playing sports with our mental mindset also. I believe sports persons are very strong. I believe sports persons are very strong mentally. I think we will come out of this. But what I would like to stress here is that a lot of online things are happening, coaching, instructions from the clubs I think training have started. I think the German league have started.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, especially about the Indian football part? Can you share a little bit about what's going on right now?
Yeah, true. The good thing is that our sports minister, under the purview of the government of India, I think have opened recently stadiums for training purposes, following certain rules. I think I think that's a great thing to happen for a start, in spite of all this gloom all over. But we need to follow the SOPs, given by the government, given by the respective state governments. I think there's hope. I think slowly things are coming back. But the good thing is that in India, I think the technology is so good at the moment that we are still not far away. We might physically not be together, but I think we can see face to face through Zoom, through online, and I think we keep on doing stuff which we love, that is football and other sports. I think very soon, hopefully, very soon, hopefully things will get better and we can go back to do what we love, that is playing football and other sports.
And talking specifically about football, as we know, even I-League clubs, many clubs have been facing problems with sponsors. Despite that, the passion has kept the game going. But these are
True.
again very difficult times. Funds are drying up almost everywhere. The players
True.
have their needs. They have given their life to the game. They need sustenance. How critical do things become in a crisis like this, when a lot of industries, be it the hospitality, tourism, airlines, a lot of industries, people are losing jobs. How difficult does it become for the football clubs, the owners, the sponsors to retain, honestly?
Well, I mean that's a very right and a very tough question to answer for anybody at the moment. But all I can say is that at this moment of great, fight for survival, I think the people who runs the club, whether it is at the national level or at the international level, I think all the club owners, I think the big factor, I think that it is about humanity. I think we know that the club owners are also struggling. The corporates are also having a tough time. But again, there might be somewhere a balance created where everybody just survive in a good way, just to come out of this. I think the world is so great. We are so expert in all our fields that soon we will come up with new things. And we survive in the sports business. And hopefully for the players and for the young talented boys are all around, I think don't lose hope. I think hope and belief, make us stronger as human race, and especially as sports person. We need to stay physically and, more importantly, mentally strong, so that we with the belief that very soon things will get better. That's all I can say at the moment.
Absolutely. You have been somebody who has been associated with youth development, with the boys all the time in the field. Do you dream of the turf? Do you smell the turf? Do you crave for the turf? Do you dream when is the next time we can go there, play as a team, be there, practice? Do you miss all that? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Definitely.
But what are the things that cross your mind? Because there's a semblance of uncertainty that still remains.
I think what good has this pandemic thing, lockdown, has given us is a little bit of we all move out, all professionals, but now we are mostly home. I think the family part is very good, but like I said, staying in touch with friends through phone, through WhatsApp, through Zoom, through online, I think that still has kept that bonding still very strong. Of course, as and when the government give us permission to start training, and as I mentioned, following the SOPs, I think very soon we will go. Yes, definitely. Like me, there are thousands and thousands of people around the world who want to go to the football pitch and do their job, what they love doing, especially the players and the youngsters who love to just play and express themselves, for the love of the game. And hopefully these things will come soon. I'm very, very positive and hopeful. Naba.
So the next time you come to Guwahati, we're going to go out for a friendly match. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Thangboy Singto, for joining us on Bottom Line.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. We will be joined by Keshav Pariat, editor of the Sports Room, Shillong, in a short while from now. But Sangeeta Datta, Dr. Sangeeta Datta, yes, you can the spirit of a sportsman, the never-dying spirit. That is something which will keep them going throughout. And it is the need of the hour. And as he mentioned, everybody, it's not just for the sports industry, any industry, everyone has to unite and find out ways and means, be it the employers, be it the employees.
Absolutely.
We have to work as a family and see that everybody's interests are met somehow or the other.
Absolutely. When it comes to difficult times like this, it is about survival of the fittest. And when we talk about fitness, it is not just about physical fitness, it is more about mental fitness, like he has rightly said. And it's a sportsman's spirit, full of hope, full of optimism. And what is more important is, in psychology, we have a term called resilience. Human minds have to be resilient. Even if a person or a community suffers a setback, we have the power to get back to normalcy, or we could even become better, than before, because we learn from our mistakes, we take challenges, we face challenges, and we emerge stronger. That is what we expect even after this COVID or during this COVID pandemic. So what is more important to be understood is that we need to accept the situation. When it comes to people missing sports or for that matter anything else that they were doing and they were enjoying doing, let me just clarify something here. Now it's about survival and it's about fulfilling basic needs, especially when it's about a pandemic. For people who were earning their livelihood through sports or through other professions, you were mentioning tourism or perhaps even different creative fields. So survival in terms of earning livelihood is something which needs to be addressed. Apart from that, when a crisis like this hits, people always think about survival and meeting their basic needs. Having said that, hope should be there, resilience should be there. People must maintain their willpower well so that they don't succumb to psychological ailments like anxiety, depression. It's very saddening to realize that some people during this crisis, during this pandemic have actually attempted suicide and some of them have successfully completed suicide, which is very sad because they didn't have the patience or the optimism or the resilience to actually wait for better things to happen in life. Even I am sure as a psychiatrist and as a human being that if we follow norms, this will not last very long.
Absolutely.
And we are going to see good days again.
Absolutely. We still have Siddharth Shankar Deka of Guwahati City FC. Siddharth, training can start as soon as possible. As you mentioned already, the MHA has said stadiums can open minus the spectators. But will there be motivation enough as uncertainty continues to look large as far as Tonys are? Without tournaments, do you think just practicing, there will be motivation for the boys?
Yeah, I've seen the guidelines yesterday. So, yes, we need to accept that spectators cannot be allowed in the stadiums. Yes, football is a spectators game. Without spectators, no one will be motivated, neither the players nor the organizers. So that will be a very difficult situation, but we need to again adapt to the according to the environment. And we need to wait for 1 or 2 years, I think, for fully recover from this disease. And until then, we have to go according to the rules and regulations. And I think the people who love football, they would like to watch it anywhere, mobile, TV, online streaming. We have to adapt. That is the only way, I think.
Yeah, but everyone is feeling the pinch as far as revenue is concerned, and the team owners, sponsors are not immune to this. How to tide over this crisis?
That's a huge issue. For a new club like us, which runs on limited budget and without surplus money. We are very much worried, of course, for the current situation. If you forward at least for 1 or 2 years, we will see any normalcy returning to the field or the structure. So we have to go cautiously, thinking about the revenues in a very planned manner. That is why we are concentrating mainly on grassroots, and we are organizing grassroots footballs and football leagues, tournaments, and at the same time we are building our academy in a non-residential setup, so that budget can be covered. So we need to think long term, of course, but for this scenario, for this disease or the situation emerged from the disease, we need to think about some short-term measures which can help us out. And cutting budget is not the issue for us, because we are not in a spending spree. We are concentrating mainly on grassroots, so we'll be taking care of it like we took care in normal time. But of course, yes, sponsorships will be the main problem. Let's see what comes in next 1 or 2 months, and let's decide the whole structure.
So clearly, a lot of stress, as we can see there, Dr. Sangeeta Datta. It's the same crisis that other industries are facing,
Absolutely.
and it's the question of sustenance. Of course, you cannot blame the owners and the sponsors. Funds are drying up. Yes, but it can get very stressful from the psychological point of view when you are
It
used
is.
to a life of adventure and activity, and then all of a sudden that comes to a standstill. On top of that, there is a fear that there could be no sustenance in a few months' time if things continue like this. That puts a lot of pressure, even if you're a
It
sports
does,
person.
it does. But we have to remember that necessity is the mother of invention. And here what we have to think about is perhaps harm reduction. We cannot think of retrieving all that is lost in the last 2-3 months, but we definitely will have to think about newer ways, novel ways, innovative ways of regenerating maybe income, or building up our economy in a different way. Maybe the previous ways will not work anymore. So a lot of brainstorming has to happen here. And I guess the world has changed a lot. And I don't know if we are ever going to live in the same old world again, because even if the COVID crisis ends, I think we are going to change as a human race and as a world, because a lot of new techniques will come in, a lot of new ideas will come in, a lot of income, I would say avenues related to income generation would come in. People who are doing today, I was just going to an interview of an artist, of a theater artist, and she was totally panicky, thinking that how will I earn my livelihood? I guess people will start thinking about alternative ways of generating income, etc. But whatever, we cannot afford to lose hope. We cannot afford to feel depressed or anxious, because it's only willpower and a positive mindset that will actually help us devise newer techniques, devise newer methods, keep hoping and keep fighting. If we lose hope, if we lose our willpower, and actually if we lose our resilience, then there'll be no hope at all and we cannot win. And ultimately, as a human race, like another panelist has said, we are known to be the superior most creation of God, of nature. So that way, let us prove this. Our intellects are the best. We have wonderful brains to think. We have wonderful judgment and reasoning. We should now actually use all our abilities, our emotional intelligence, our judgment, decision-making power, and everything. Now is high time that we think properly like a rational human being.
Resilience, yes, but we also need support. I'm being joined from Shillong now by Keshav Pariat. Keshav, of course, is the editor of the Sports Room, a former colleague. Hi, Keshav. How are you doing?
I am trying to cope with this change in circumstances.
Absolutely, all of us are. Tell me something about the sports scenario. How are the clubs managing? We have so many clubs there in Shillong, those who feature in Shillong Premier League and all the other tourneys. Well, they have a large bunch of players, support staff, trainers, physios. How easy or difficult? How difficult is the going, and how are they managing in these times of crisis, Keshav?
Well, I think for the most part, I think it's just been a shock. It's been something that they're all just trying to get their heads around. It's something that none of us have ever seen before, and it's been hard adjustment for the clubs, for the players especially, because the way things are here is that the clubs are usually financed by a generous donor to a family or something like that. So now with no football going on whatsoever, and no sponsors also, even if there was football allowed in Shillong, I'm not sure if we could get a sponsor. So there have been at least 1 or 2 clubs who have been trying to help out their players, ex-players, other players also with basic rations and things like that, but it's not looking good right now.
But overall, do you have a plan going forward? Because say recently the latest guidelines from the MHA, well, they have allowed training. They have at least allowed training. The stadiums can open, but of course we cannot have any spectators, which means even if we have a tournament, there will be no spectators, there will be no revenue, and there is no telecast. Probably, you know, these are times, necessity is the mother of invention. These are times when the local cable networks maybe telecast something come up. You know, we need to think and see what can be done, because, well, this virus may stay for another year or less or more, we do not know, and we have to figure a way out. Is there any brainstorming going on, anything that you know of, Keshav?
Well, yes, it was, as you said, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has allowed stadia to reopen. But here in Meghalaya itself, the government has still kept them closed. And to be honest, I mean, I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the Northeast, but here, you know, our stadiums, indoor sports halls are being used for, you know, in the fight against coronavirus, you know, as reception centers, as lodging for, you know, Central Armed Police Forces. So, I mean, we need that situation to clear up first, maybe rehouse and get back the stadiums for sports activities. Then maybe we have to see things
That would
like
also call for a lot of maintenance again.
the maintenance again, especially now that it's the monsoon. We have to make sure that things have not gotten flooded or anything like that. So I think it's a long process still. You can't just restart sports anytime soon, I think.
All right, Keshav, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay well. Clearly, Dr. Datta, not a very happy picture, but yes,
Exactly.
life has to move on, life has to go on. Last words.
Times are very difficult, but again, when the going gets tough, only the tough get going. And please follow the norms and the guidelines, because I believe that if we follow the norms, we can definitely cut the chain of viral transmission. That way, we will be able to live with the virus for the next few months, or more than a year, or more than 2 years, whatever time the virus lasts. Yet, we will not become extinct. And always remember that the very fact that we are healthy today and we are alive is a blessing. Please follow the norms.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. On that note, it's a wrap of
Thank you.
Bottom Line.